Hey there. The video you're about to watch was originally streamed live on Twitch TV/Aerospace News, which is where I do the live streaming of the vast majority of the events that I cover, like this rocket launch and some other rocket launches and news events that will be upcoming. So if you'd like to catch them live, interact with me and other members of the chat, please drop a follow. Again, twitch.tv/Aerospace News. There will also be a link in the description below that will be clickable. In the meantime, if you'd like to catch the videos when they're recorded and posted here, be sure to hit the subscribe button here on YouTube and turn notifications on so that you get notified when new videos are uploaded or there's new things shared to the community tab. Hope you enjoy the video and look forward to seeing you in the future out here on the leading edge.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Back in 2020,
Jamita,
and
glad you made it. Welcome. Nice to see you here at the start.
That booster is making its
How are you?
flight today. The Dragon capsule is making its second flight. It previously flew on the NASA Crew 1 mission to the International Space Station. So that's why the second stage.
I'm well, thank you. We'll see how well this live stream goes.
First stage there,
Let me give you a shout out.
And if you're just now joining us, you are tuned in to the first all-civilian mission to orbit.
This is only the third time I've tried to do something like this, so
it's getting very exciting here.
Your mileage may vary.
A little over
We're glad to have you here.
15 minutes from T0.
And we started covering the action at T-4 hours with the crew walking out of Hangar X. They made their way over to the Falcon support building where they got suited up. And then we saw them hop in the Teslas, ride up to the pad, go
Trust Me One rated with 8 viewers. Welcome
Trust,
aboard,
thank you.
Raiders.
Thank you for the raid. Welcome aboard. Welcome, Raiders. Appreciate you. This is going to be a relatively short stream. Once they're, fingers crossed, safely in orbit, it's going to be ending, but I'm thrilled to have you here. Come chat about aviation and space stuff.
And they're going to be going to space
Trust.
for 3 days. They're going to be orbiting.
Shout out inbound. How are you? How was your stream?
They're basically going so fast that they won't fall back to Earth until we tell Dragon to do so. And they're going to be going up to a height of.
I've got the closed captions on as well so people can hear their real-time translation, which is really amazing, of the NASA commentary. I'm glad to hear that, Trust.
Folks to continue to push the boundaries of what
this is a little out of my my normal element in terms of the streaming format, so I hope it goes smoothly. I hope we can add some value and not just be a yakking head here. Very good, Foss. Good to see you.
Falcon 9 with Crew Dragon for the Inspiration 4 mission sitting on top.
M Captain, good to see you, buddy, again today.
Soon to be astronauts there.
How are you?
Comfortable in their seats.
M Captain, you're streaming too, right? You're part of the COG team.
We have seen a lot of camaraderie, a lot of joking, and I imagine that they're
Get
now
you a shout out.
to get a little more serious. They're really focusing in on the task at hand, which is going to space in just a little over 13 minutes.
Just want to make sure I don't miss anybody in chat here.
Very exciting. If you've been following along, they do have.
Your friendship is enough, Trust. I appreciate you. Appreciate the raid too. Thank you very much.
And the crew has just been so incredible. It's been so amazing to watch them throughout this whole process. And very excited to see them strapped in their seats.
Yeah, well, this is, I guess you could call it commercial, Trust. This crew is not affiliated with NASA in any way. The flight has been funded by the billionaire who's the flight commander. Bowmaster, hey, buddy. So they're not going to the space station. They're going to go, the plan is to go to orbit for 3 days. They don't have a docking module. They have a cupola for an amazing view instead of that. So, yeah, it'll be interesting.
That'll finish at T-6 minutes. We ought to do that call out on the webcast.
Wow. I'm going to allow that because I know, excuse me, I know you didn't intend to type that group. ISS. It's not ISIS. IS. ISS. ISIS is a bad group of people.
We cannot stop the countdown and try to launch later in the window. So if a problem arises that requires holding the countdown clock,
excuse me.
those dreaded words.
Yeah, they're just going to go to orbit. They're going quite high, actually. I think it's a little higher than the International Space Station for 3 days and kind of just hanging out, do some demos, and then come back safely. You know, fingers crossed for them all. They have good weather right now. They've got a 90% chance of favorable weather today, which is great, and at the other potential recovery sites around the world. So that looks good. So unless there are technical issues, we'll probably see this launch.
We armed the launch escape system on time. And on the right-hand side of the monitor, you can see the 4-person crew strapped in, and they are ready to go. Coming up in about a minute, we're going to get final instructions to the crew at T-minus 10 minutes. They're going to configure their crew displays for launch. And that's a setup that'll
while the crew will be interacting with the spacecraft and communicating to SpaceX's mission control, they're not piloting this, and although there is somebody who has the title of pilot on the flight.
Dragon will go to internal power. We'll hear continued call-outs on the countdown net as we get close to zero and a liftoff. Now, next major event coming up right now.
This booster has flown several times, by the way. You'll see soot on the outside of it. This is clearly an era of reusable spacecraft. And I believe the capsule is also flown. They've simply pulled the docking port out and put in the cupola, along with other refurbishing activities, of course.
Chilling into the engines to get ready for engine ignition down at about T-minus 2 seconds. Let's listen in on the countdown net for a minute.
So they're scheduled to go, in about 7 minutes. Actually, that says 9 minutes 56 on the stream.
Are configured for launch.
SpaceX Dragon, our displays are configured for launch.
Angelic, welcome, buddy. Good to see you.
It has been an absolute honor to prepare you for this historic flight. Today, you are truly
The
inspired.
king of aircraft carriers himself, Angelic Cipher,
Godspeed and enjoy.
oftentimes, unfortunately, operating an aircraft carrier on the other team, and somebody who knows one or two things about, outer space stuff. I'll let him explain. How are you? Good to see you here.
Kate, it looks like we passed through another event, the T-minus 10-minute call up to the crew to reconfigure.
I turned the closed captions on. I hope that's helpful, chat. If it's not, I'm happy to turn them off.
Station 14, Inspire the World. On the Falcon 9 side, we're doing the last T-minus 10-minute checks.
Yes.
Next major event coming up.
I was thinking of even a collab. Maybe we could do something where you teach me how to play aircraft carriers, so it'd be a little more on brand for me. But literally, I was thinking about that. It would just be fun to play with you on the same team, off stream or on. It doesn't matter, buddy.
We can see some excitement there on the right-hand side of your screen as the crew. I think they're really starting to realize that they're going to space in under 10 minutes.
It'd be really kind of nice to be good at it.
Will occur at T-minus 7 minutes. You'll hear
that would be great.
Engine chill. Engine chill is simply, as the name says, we chill down some of the hardware in the engine. We're actually.
So I'm sure most of you know this that are fans of spaceflight, but in one sense, despite the modernity of the SpaceX approach, there's something a bit retro about their engines, despite their performance. They don't use liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen. They use liquid oxygen and basically, essentially, deep kerosene. So the engines glow orange like the old Saturn boosters did. But they get very good performance out of their engine design.
Once again, if you're just joining us, this is the first all-civilian mission to orbit.
You're very much there, Angelic.
In 7.5 minutes. They will be ascending to an altitude.
Yeah, there's three schools of thought about. Well, there's actually more than three, but the three big schools of thought are hydrogen oxygen, kerosene oxygen, and methane oxygen.
There's that crew there on your screen. On the far left seat is Chris Simbrowski.
Only the hydrogen gives you
Next to
that
him,
beautiful
Dr.
blue
Proctor,
glow.
the pilot.
And of course, the exhaust from
Also on the
hydrogen and
right,
oxygen
Commander Jared
burning
Isaacman.
is just
And to the
water
right
vapor.
of Jared, Haley
No
Arsenault,
pollution at all.
the medical officer.
Oh, goodness gracious,
Stage 1
trust.
engine chill has started.
All right, there's that.
Engine
Stage
chill.
1 engine chill has started.
Somebody needs to make a meme about that, where the engine is just like, you know, I don't know, lighting a clove cigarette or lighting some incense. That's engine chill. And having some maybe chamomile tea.
As Kate says, that's chilling in the turbo pumps in preparation.
But what that's actually doing is preventing thermal shock as the cryogenic or liquid, frozen liquid temperature fuels meet the metallic parts. It would be, there would be a shock if the fuel hits at full velocity. Propellant maybe is a better term to use.
What we're
Stage
getting
1
ready for
RP1 load complete.
right now is that call out. We're right on time. The fuel load, the RP1 kerosene, refined petroleum 1, rocket propellant 1 grade, is
There you
loaded
go.
onto the first stage. So that leaves us
Kerosene is not
liquid oxygen
a
loading
whole lot different than diesel, but much more, it's more refined, but it's JTM. How are you, buddy?
Liquid oxygen tanks.
Thank you for showing up. I'm sorry I'm not in clan battles right now, but hashtag work.
Gives you those clouds.
How are you?
Yeah, that super chilled liquid oxygen coming into contact with the ambient Florida air. So creates
Thank you for popping in.
puffs of white clouds, as John said, completely normal.
I really am here doing
In
this.
fact, we will be seeing more of those once LOX load completes and those lines are closed.
All right, Demita. It's not a following. It's an awesome shout out for people that have been. Oh, you're in battle? Look at you, multitasking. I can't even play when I'm in battle, let alone doing these two things at once. Well, go get him and give my best to our clan brothers. Yeah, Demita, it's intended to actually scare me, but it's also intended to recognize folks that have been super supporters of my absolutely noob stream.
Everything continuing to go on schedule.
Trust angelic.
To pressurize the tanks.
JT.
Stiffen the second stage up is the 2 hydraulic clamp arms will open up coming up here very shortly.
Yeah, if you see a new follower alert, you're going to see it's some animation I did with F-117s. I was playing a video the other day of me flying in an airplane and my window over my shoulder, and they literally popped up looking like they were flying outside my window. That was like perfect timing. I think there's a clip of it on the on somewhere on my Twitch page. I'm very excited about this.
As you can see on the timeline there at the bottom of your screen, the strong back
The trust the awesome shout outs or the rocket
the last
at the moment.
event or modification to the pad prior to liftoff.
Yeah, the dark side of the capsule there, I believe, are solar panels, by the way.
Falcon 9 is nearly fully loaded.
Enjoy your lurk.
Almost 1 million.
Demita, thanks for being here.
Liquid kerosene and liquid oxygen.
Oh, the F-117 shout out.
That liquid oxygen is what we
Thanks,
see
Trust.
there. Those white clouds.
I hope to do these things and actually news shows on a standalone news shows on a more frequent basis. So there's no way I could miss this one.
You see here, then at T0, when the Falcon 9 sends the liftoff command to the ground to release it, hydraulics will bring that strong back the rest of the way to about a 45.
There's also a Lurk 2 command, which is a slightly other silly thing to say, just for folks to know.
Out right on time. First stage liquid oxygen loading is complete. Shutting down the ground pumps. We're down to just loading second stage liquid oxygen.
And now under 3 minutes until the launch of Inspiration 4.
Dragon has transitioned to thermal count and is on internal power.
All right, and there's that call out that Dragon is now running on
I'm aware that the Royal Navy is using drones, Trust. I wasn't aware of anything new and specific. Was there something cool and interesting that was announced recently?
California, as we are now under 2.5 minutes until the launch of the Inspiration 4 crew. That crew there can be seen on the right-hand side of your screen. buckled in and ready to go.
Oh, I'm really impressed how Twitch on my iPad's not showing any chat at all. Ah, I see.
Stage 2 LOX load complete.
I'm hearing sounds of like a record scratch.
And there's the call that stage 2 LOX load is
Dragon
complete.
is an auto idle.
Falcon is now fully loaded with all of its propellants.
Closeout will begin shortly. Expect loud venting.
Expect loud venting.
To let the crew know that as we vent off various lines on the launch pad, we'll hear some
think
loud
that's-
noises. Let the crew know
That should be a placard amongst high school
we're also
friends
right now
after a
draining
run to
liquid
Taco Bell,
oxygen
like on the side of their
out
car.
of the transporter erector, draining the lines, getting ready for launch. Waiting for the startup call at T-minus 1 minute.
How excited must these 4 people be? I wish them the best.
FPS is on. Falcon 9 is in startup. And it's in control.
Dragon is in countdown.
You can hear the cheers. We're inside 1 minute.
Go for launch.
Okay, friends. 40 seconds to go.
Inspiration 4 is go for launch. Punch it, SpaceX.
3, 2, 1, 0.
Commander calling
T-minus 30
down.
seconds.
Punch it, SpaceX.
Go Dragon. Go Falcon. Godspeed Inspiration 4.
So mission audio is playing on another channel here.
15 seconds.
I'm going to actually turn that off because I think they've already launched, that this stream is being delayed. Here we go.
Go Falcon. Godspeed Inspiration 4.
Copy, 1 Alpha.
Vehicles pitching downrange.
Stage 1 propulsion is
That's
on.
pretty. So the next big event, as many of you veterans will know, is when they reach maximum dynamic pressure.
Callouts indicate nominal, historic mission flying the Inspiration 4 crew on board Dragon and Falcon 9. Great view of the crew in the capsule.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Into the throttle down, into the throttle bucket.
Stage 1 throttle down.
First, I'll look it up for you, but I don't know the actual weight
Throttling down
from
in
memory.
preparation for the period of maximum dynamic pressure.
Falcon 9's a pretty heavy lifting spacecraft, but it's not the heaviest weight, of course. Within about a minute of launch, they're going to be at
Stage 1 throttle up.
max Q, which is right there. Okay, there we go.
Pressure.
Copy,
We're
1
throttled
Bravo.
back up.
So they had throttled down as they were entering max Q, and now they're going to throttle back up.
It's a nominal call. Everything continues to be good.
And the next major event will be main engine cutoff, and then the booster will most likely fly back to land. I'm amazed they can raise their hands up like that, given the dynamic loads they're facing, the G-forces. It's a very distinctive shape of the Falcon 9 engine exhaust.
Okay, we heard the call out. MVAC-D is chilling. We're beginning to get the turbo pump ready on the second stage engine for ignition. We're passing through 3 G's acceleration. Everything continues to look nominal.
Postmaster, right, I understand. So the higher they get, obviously, the lower the atmospheric pressure. So the gas escaping from the engines is going to expand.
Major event coming up will be main engine cutoff, followed by stage separation.
Now we're looking up into the engine of the second stage engine nozzle. So you'll get main engine cutoff, then separation.
And Miko.
Main engine cutoff.
Stage separation confirmed.
And then ignition will be green, Usually, there it is, and then orange. That green is actually a starting fluid. Here come the grid fins to control the atmospheric direction as they come back into land. The engine nozzle on the right is for vacuum flight in space, and it's a different shape to maximize its performance.
There on the left-hand side of your screen is making its way back down to Earth. The grid fins have popped out to assist with the steering. It will be making a landing attempt on our drone ship. Just read the instructions, which is parked out in holding position.
So we're looking up the first stage. We can just see the exhaust of the second stage in the deep background. Those little puffs are the nitrogen thrusters.
That has already separated from the second stage, and it's making its way back to Earth.
I'm mistaken. We're looking down.
SpaceX trajectory nominal.
Is being tracked on the bottom.
We're looking down on the first stage.
On the right-hand side of your screen is a view of our second stage Merlin vacuum engine. On the opposite end of that engine is the second stage and the crew, which sits on top of the second stage. Everything looks to be going normal.
Here we go, back to the cabin.
And you can also track the velocity on the second stage on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. And we also have awesome views of the crew inside.
I'm very curious to what the living conditions are really going to be like for 3 days with 4 people in that spacecraft, because it's not very big inside.
Give us 2 thumbs up. I'm sure she enjoyed this ride that she's been waiting for her
Pardon me.
entire life.
One notable thing, too, is we're getting some twilight views. The sun just set in Florida, but we're high enough.
Oh, look at that beautiful view
Up where the light
of the horizon on the right-hand side.
reflecting off of very high altitude objects, such as the first and second stages.
Dragon SpaceX trajectory nominal.
Love to hear that call out. Trajectory nominal from the guidance engineer. Also notice we're really up there now, well past 100 kilometers.
Acquisition of signal, New Hampshire.
Just before that view switched, we saw some teammate fist bumps going on there inside of the cabin.
Yeah, they look like they're having a fun ride there. And their journey isn't over. We've got about 7 more minutes until Dragon separates from the second stage.
We'll stick with this through that milestone at least stream.
It's going to be performing a
Chat.
re-entry burn that's going to be coming up around the T+7 minute and 30-second mark. That burn is used to slow down the first stage before it re-enters.
I'm glad you're here, Angelic Cipher.
A few minutes later, it will execute a landing burn and make an attempt to land on our drone ship that's currently parked in the Atlantic Ocean.
Yep.
Dragon SpaceX.
I heard that they had the drone ship out there, so I'd assumed that they were going to recover the first stage for this one.
Dragon copies.
So far.
We should get some coverage of that as well.
For the Inspiration 4 crew.
It'll be dark,
Hearing that
though.
Everything is proceeding nominally there with the
Yeah,
second
it'll be
stage,
dark.
which is what you see on the right-hand side. That
HT propulsion nominal.
I was just going to say that MVAC engine we just heard.
MVAC
now
is
looking
Merlin vacuum. So they've got the Merlin atmospheric engines, which are on the first stage. So the Merlin vacuums are just referred to as MVACs. It's amazing that we have the material science to construct that nozzle that can handle that heat.
Those are the nitrogen puffs helping to steer and guide a vehicle, basically.
Dragon SpaceX trajectory nominal.
Yeah, the nitrogen puffs are referred to as cold
basically
thrusters.
attitude control.
There's no combustion. It's just pressurized gas, like an air can,
As it makes its
basically.
way
But it's
back down to
pressurized
Earth.
nitrogen.
There's the crew on the right-hand side of your screen. I think I see some more thumbs up there. Dr. Proctor is clearly excited that she's finally
Got to be
in
having the
space.
best time.
Again, this mission will be orbiting Earth for 3 days, and they will be at an altitude of 575 kilometers, which, if I remember correctly, John you said that that is the distance from Los Angeles to the Golden Gate Bridge.
There you go. They're going to get there a lot faster.
Phase 2, FTS is saved.
Right now,
Yeah, okay, so this is the entry burn on the first stage on the left. We are looking down the booster from the top.
what you're seeing on screen on the left-hand side is the entry burns, the first of 2 burns on the first stage. Again, this first stage has already separated from the second stage. So the first stage is making its way back to Earth.
So now it will fall directionally toward the drone ship. The grid fins will be playing an increasingly active role as it gets lower and lower into the Earth's atmosphere, and they become more effective.
With planet Earth just behind the glowing MVAC engine.
Stage 2 is in terminal guidance.
That's a terrible term. Terminal guidance.
We're at the altitude.
Meaning it's final, not like.
Right orbit. And if you're wondering, cruise pulling about 3.5 Gs right now, less than they took on the first flight.
I trust.
15 seconds. We are expecting.
Copy, Shannon.
We are expecting.
We probably will see them wiggle a bit more as we get closer to landing the first stage back on the drone ship, Bowmaster.
Of good orbit. At the same time, the first stage will be beginning its landing burn. And here we have the MVAC. We just saw that it shut off its engine.
Stage 1, landing burn start.
Even in the vacuum of space, look at that, it's still glowing after shutting down.
Orbit insertion, that's amazing news for Inspiration 4 crew.
Outstanding. Here we go. Did they stick the landing? They oftentimes lose the signal with perfectly good landings.
Stage 1, landing is confirmed.
Yeah, they stuck the landing. Makes me as happy as a double strike.
We just heard from Jared.
Outstanding.
Everyone for making this mission possible. The Dragon capsule and crew are in a nominal orbit. In a few minutes here, we'll begin opening that.
Good orbit.
Excuse me. In a few minutes here, we'll separate.
Recovered
the second
first stage.
And then shortly after that, we'll begin opening that nose cone. At the same time, we landed our first stage on the drone ship, which is super exciting.
As if the second stage action wasn't exciting enough.
Right.
All within 10 minutes of launch.
So there's that MVAC engine, like we mentioned before. It has
Exactly,
been
Bowmaster.
shut down, in an event known
Yeah, this
as
is.
second engine
I've
cutoff.
posted about this a lot on Twitter.
Are now
The space age that I was promised as a child didn't happen during my youth, despite the Jetsons being on TV. This is a space age. We're absolutely living in one now, and all things being equal in the world we live in, the kids of today are going to be living in the space age, and hopefully it will never end.
There aren't any what they call disturbance torques. We want to make sure that the second stage is very stable, it's quiet, it's not moving around, it's not doing anything. So we give
By the way,
it a few
this
minutes to
guy
actually
who
connect everything
sounds like a
together.
classic NASA commentator is actually one of the engineers at SpaceX. And he reminds me of all the NASA commentators I've heard over the years. He's good at it.
And the Dragon moves on its way.
Yeah, John, you talked about the terminal count earlier today.
This feed is from the SpaceX Operations Center in Southern California.
Before the next event that happens.
The one on the right of screen is from a slightly farther away location.
30 seconds away from separation of Dragon from the second stage. The view on the left-hand side of the screen is a view of the unpressurized section of Dragon. So it's the sort of back end, the trunk section of the Dragon. So when we do see separation, we'll see that kind of push away.
I'm laughing at the hand gestures in the cabin.
Orbit.
Once again, the Inspiration 4 has lifted off from pad 39A. They are now in orbit around Earth, and what you can see on your screen.
There's SEP.
So that is the Dragon trunk and Dragon
It's amazing how much dust and debris comes off of the separating spacecraft. I don't know if you can see that on the stream, folks, but there's a ton of it.
Appreciate everyone's help back in LCC.
That was the voice of SpaceX Chief Engineer Bill Gerstenmayer communicating with Inspiration 4 Commander Jared
Bill,
Isaacman.
I believe, if that's the right guy, used to be with NASA.
So Dragon has separated away from the second stage, and that's the view that we have on the left-hand side of your screen. A lot of space there.
Expected
the
loss
next
of signal Bermuda and New Hampshire.
And then the next event that we are anticipating is the opening.
Dragon SpaceX, nominal dehumidifier activation and service section Draco checkouts.
Dehumidifier is probably very important if you think about it, with 4 people breathing in and out.
So we heard the call out, nominal Draco checkouts after separation.
There's a 0G indicator floating,
View that we have over the shoulders,
like a stuffy or something.
Commander Jared Isaacman and pilot Cyan Proctor. Dr. Cyan Proctor is on the right-hand side.
Cessna 152 flyer, good evening to you. Welcome. Good to see you here again.
Their dashboard for the next 3 days. These touch screens provide them all
How are you?
the telemetry and data and information about the systems on board Dragon that they can interact with while on orbit.
We can see the 0G indicator floating around.
That's what I was referring to a moment ago.
Like it is a little golden retriever.
Oh, like the golden retriever assistance dogs at St. Jude Children's Hospital.
Oh, nice.
Apropos.
Yeah, I mean, let's take a moment to underline one of the things they're hoping to do with this launch, although there's a lot of asterisks that have to be applied here. The youngest member of the crew is an employee at St. Jude's and a survivor of childhood cancer, if I remember her condition correctly. And they're trying to raise $200 million for St. Jude's, which offers medical care without charge to parents with sick children. So very worthy cause. And if you have the means, something I would also encourage you to consider doing.
Inside of Dragon,
as to say, supporting St. Jude's.
And the crew. So when the nose cone does deploy, they won't immediately get to see out the cupola, but once they can get out of their seats.
Yeah, it looks like everything is nominal there. Oh, Cessna 152 flyer.
And on your right-hand screen is Mission Control Hawthorne at SpaceX headquarters here.
Once again, the cupola is the observation dome that was installed. It's brand new hardware to this mission. It is in place of what was the docking adapter, the docking mechanism that allowed Crew Dragon to previously dock with the International Space Station. Due to the fact that the space station is not our destination today, we were able to pull out that docking mechanism and insert the cupola. Which
Some happy SpaceX employees back there.
360 view of space for our passengers inside Crew Dragon Resilience here, which I cannot wait for our first views of the cupola. You know, everything that we've seen on the ground here is just incredible, and to see it actually.
I'm not sure how long that's going to take. We may not keep the stream going for that to open.
For us, I can't even imagine what.
But there's a pretty good chance that there'll be some coverage of this mission that I can drop into my actual streams for updates, and I will try and do that.
For them to get the first look out and hopefully we'll.
And just as a reminder, I should be back streaming tonight from 8 to 10 p.m. Pacific time. I normally stream Monday and Wednesday evenings, 8 to 10 p.m. Pacific time. And I'll do these pop-up streams, and I'm thinking of doing a standalone news program once a week as well, with the latest from aviation, space, drones, defense, that sort of stuff.
The team had a nominal ascent out of Pad 39A in Kennedy Space Center and are currently in orbit around the Earth.
Yeah, what an incredible place to be in right now when we can say we have now put 4 civilians into space, into orbit. It's been an incredible journey for us to get here. We didn't do this alone. There's a lot of history working with our partners, NASA,
well, they're starting to wind
to
down
this point. A lot of efforts with reusability.
the commentary. Why don't we Yeah, you did, Foamaster. I can appreciate that. Certainly didn't want anything to happen to the crew or the spacecraft. Yeah, let's call it there. I think that's a good place to stop. When they're starting to thank the Academy and their families for getting this done. And I don't mean to troll them. I'm just saying they're kind of wrapping it up, and all that's going to happen is probably an inside view of them opening up the dome. So let's end it on a high note. My pleasure, Angelic. Glad you were able to make it. It was fun to do. Wasn't quite sure how the technical aspects of it would go from my streaming side, and I'm thrilled that you folks decided to spend some time with me. Yeah, we've been together about 37 minutes or so, and we'll try and do this. I mean, there's going to be a lot more rocket flights and space flights and first flights from around the world, so we'll try and do this again, and hopefully maybe actually be able to bring you them ourselves from locations as the world opens back up again. So in the meantime, stay safe, take good care of yourselves and those around you, and we will see you soon. So I hope you enjoyed that video. Remember, if you want to catch these events live, join me and others who like to chat about aviation and spaceflight at twitch.tv/aerospacenews. That's where I stream live. Again, there's a clickable link in the description below. In the description, easy for me to say. There's a clickable link in the description below. Hope to see you there. Thanks for joining me. And of course, if you're not a follower of this channel on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. It's completely free. Take care. Bye-bye.